Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Lake Protectors podcast. I am joined today by Megan Seeley, Marketing Director of the Lake George Chamber. So we're going to chat about all the happenings in Lake George throughout the year and talk about what you guys do. So first and foremost, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And give us a little bit about your background. How did you end up at the Lake George Chamber, and really what does the chamber do, and what's your position there?
Sure. So I am the marketing director for the Lake George Regional Chamber of Commerce and CVB. So with that comes both the chamber and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, which I can talk a little bit more about. I drive sort of all the marketing strategy and campaigns for both of the brands, as well as really kind of everything in-house, whether it be print and digital, social media. I handle all the communications, press releases, anything that you can think of. We are sort of a lean nonprofit. So I kind of do everything in-house, as well as I'm also a resident of Lake George.
Okay.
So to talk a little bit about that, I kind of have a 3-mile bubble that that I tell everyone about, in which, I work, my kids go to school, and I really live all in Lake George, in the town of Lake George, in the village of Lake George, and drink the Lake George water. And, so I am kind of a full champion of the area, both on the tourism scale as well as just as a resident.
That's awesome. So you drink the water. You, of course, have a vested interest in keeping our water clean. And you guys, the chamber is really such a resource for folks, whether they're visitors or even regionally local, but maybe not quite sure what to do. We are, of course, coming off of our high season, but what are we looking forward to over the next couple months?
Yeah, so just to go back a little bit, the Lake George Chamber and CVB, just to kind of understand it on a standpoint of business and how we operate, we really have 3 audiences that we're always trying to reach. The first one is obviously the visitor.
Right.
So we own and operate we operate the Village Information Center on One Beach Road.
Yep.
We have about 30,000 people that come through there annually. We also circulate a travel brochure that is distributed regionally. About 75,000 of those are distributed, as well as just the day-to-day phone calls that we have for visitors. So we are always trying to reach those visitors in the, regionally
Right.
to come to the area. A second audience that we have would be the businesses. So we do all the standard things that you think of with a chamber when it comes to ribbon cuttings, mixers, press releases, promotions. But then we also do a lot of industry and tourism focused as well. So what kind of differentiates us as a chamber from other chambers is our focus and our mission is to connect members to visitors and visitors to members. So a lot of our membership is small businesses, lodging properties, dining, attractions, and more, all the
Right.
business services that are really trying to connect with the visitors coming to the area. The third audience that we have is the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I'm sorry I'm rambling,
No,
but
you're
just so
that's
you
perfect.
understand that the Convention and Visitors Bureau is actually a contract that we have with Warren County,
Okay.
where we are bringing in groups of 50 or more. So those would be your weddings, your conventions, meetings, sports,
Right.
bus tours. So really, when you think about us as a chamber, we are trying to connect with all types of visitors on every level year round. So just to kind of give you an idea of just how we are always trying to make those connections, it's just like there is no off season, and it
Right.
is a year-round sort of
Right.
thing that we do at the chamber, and always trying to find programs and connect businesses to businesses as well as to visitors.
Right. And it still is quite busy down in the, generally speaking, we think of May through August as the busy season, but the weather has been so great, better than May, June. So it's been busy. It's great to see. It's still been quite busy just at a physical visitor standpoint down in the village. But you mentioned sports teams. I know that, fall sports are in full swing. So we've got a lot of folks and whatnot coming in and out and staying at the local hotels and eating at restaurants and really, what we want to see.
Absolutely. So just when you were talking about what we're excited about, this is the shoulder season, which is just as exciting, if not more.
Right.
We are kicking into full gear on a membership standpoint, on a business standpoint. We have so many events that are coming up. But then on a visitor perspective, we have our leaf peepers coming. We have a lot of sports teams. We have weddings coming into town.
Oh, yeah.
Destination weddings is really huge. Lake George is a prime destination for people to come here and have their weddings and experience the area with their families. We also have a lot of group tours. So a lot of buses are coming in. You'll notice buses coming in.
Oh, yeah.
So what you don't realize is that all of these sort of group experiences are also kind of the underbelly that sustains our economy and sustains our tourism during those shoulder seasons or off seasons that we call them, whether it be, the fall leaf peepers. In the spring, you get a lot of student travelers that come in for rafting experiences. In the winter, you have ski groups that come in. So it's never really a downtime. There is a peak season that will be summer.
Right.
But there's still so much to do that's year round. And I'm obviously excited about that. We also have a lot of events.
Okay.
So what people also don't realize is that some of our biggest citywide events are actually in the fall, winter, and spring.
Right.
They're not really in the summer.
It would be almost impossible to do in the summer because, certainly there's a Americade, car show, whatnot, but it would be quite difficult to do a full wide scale village-wide event.
Yeah, so even when you think
Perfect
about
off season.
right, and when you think about it, Americade is actually the end of May, into June, so it still is not quite our peak season. The same with the Nationals car show, Adirondack Nationals. So a lot of businesses, you think that they're winding down on Labor Day, and then the week later, you have the Nationals car show.
Car show is one of the busiest weekends of the entire. It's unbelievable how many people, and that's throughout the whole week. I mean, Americade, there's peak days and whatnot, but the car show, it's like from Wednesday, Thursday was like one of the busiest days I saw all year.
Yeah, there's thousands of people that come in. And then we also have the Balloon Festival that's coming up.
Is that coming up?
Yep,
this
so that's
weekend?
next. Yeah, sorry.
Or this weekend or next?
It is this weekend.
By the time this airs, it will have been last weekend, but yes.
Yeah, and then, we just had the Jazz Fest. So, and a lot of these are regional as well. They're big regional events. So you may not see the impact the same as you would for the Adirondack Nationals car show because everyone's bringing their cars right into the village. But we were just talking about this, the Balloon Fest. You have so many travelers, thousands of people coming in, but it's a little bit more spread out, around the area. So you're still getting that huge influx of tourists and travelers and visitors. But it's just a little bit more spread out. And we just, when you think about all of the events, whether it be the Lake George Winter Carnival or we even had the Hudson Valley Firemen's Department come last year, it's just really continuous events that never stop.
Right. Well, even the Firemen's Parade, that's like in, start of June, I think it was. So definitely busy throughout. I mean, the Balloon Festival, that takes place, 10, 15 minutes from here, but everyone wants to buzz up to Lake George and see what's going on with the lake. Plus, in and of itself, the lake is much quieter, even from 2-3 weeks ago post-Labor Day. So, I know on the floating classroom we're going out, our water clarity is a little higher. It's a really nice time to be on the lake if you can get yourself there. And the steamboats are going out, so it's just, see the leaves starting to change as you buzz around the lake.
Absolutely. And when we just actually had a conference come into town that we got to host from people all over, destination marketers and destination sales people from all over the state, the first question they asked was, where can I rent a boat? Where can I rent a kayak? How can I get out on your beautiful lake? So those are always the questions, whether they're coming in through our chamber office or just through, coworkers, colleagues, people that are visiting. That's one big question. Is how can I get out on that beautiful lake?
And what is the temperature of the water, which is our most frequented webpage here at the LGA. Everyone wants to know. So speaking of the LGA, of course, we are focused on water quality. We bring groups out on our floating classroom. But for you guys, there's so many people that come to this area because they want to experience this beautiful lake. Do you have folks that are more interested in ecotourism types of tours, experiences now than, maybe in years past?
Yes, absolutely. That is a big trend that we see coming in, especially among younger
Yeah.
generations, that Gen Z. Sorry with the marketing talk, but so a lot of younger generations also like the sustainable lodging,
Yeah.
sustainable experiences. Those are really big right now. We know as a chamber that the lake is our number one asset.
Right.
Without a healthy lake, there is no thriving tourism community.
Right.
So we understand that there has to be a balance between protecting the lake, keeping stewardship of the lake
Yeah.
from a visitor standpoint, and really trying to enhance that. So that's sort of always this balance that we're trying to find is how can we keep businesses informed, residents informed, as well as visitors. I do know, with the LGA having a space in the location on Beach Road, we have said, like, this is a great opportunity to connect with visitors and share some ideas about how we can protect the lake.
Right.
And through all of the things that you already have there, you're teaching that story to people who are from out of town and don't really understand the importance that we drink this water.
Right. Yeah. Most of the folks that in the summertime come out on the floating classroom are visitors and or like a little bit further extended regionally local. They might be more towards Albany, whatnot, but the vast majority are visitors. So coming in, and of course we bring them out, teach them about water quality on Lake George, and we do our experiments. You guys participated in it last week. That was could not have picked a more beautiful day for it, and we're very grateful for that. Are there any other experiences out on the, we talk about sustainability living. So when you guys are promoting those things, is it like resorts that are, more sustainable? Is it certain types of experiences that are really hunkering down and saying we are a sustainable experience for you?
Yeah, so regionally, we do have several. I mean, I do know through New York State, there are opportunities for towns and municipalities to get that sort of certification for sustainability. I know that there are municipalities, specifically Glens Falls and as well as Lake George. A lot of businesses have sort of signed on to ensure that we're reducing salt.
Right.
So I think that sustainability is not only environmental sustainability is not only sort of a trend among visitors, but also businesses are realizing this is not only important, but it's economically more viable. And it makes more sense for us to be more environmentally, conscious. And so we've had speakers come in that are talking all about sustainable practices for those big resorts. How can we transition our food prep? How can we reduce waste? How can we be more mindful of ensuring that we are more environmentally friendly?
Right.
We also have several meeting planners. So putting my CVB hat, we have several meeting planners that cannot go to a resort or a hotel that is not certified or does not have specific sustainable practices.
Right.
So it's not just, sort of a fluffy idea. It's an actual, it's a business, it's a way of business, and it's a way of fostering, certain practices that are really important for the area and for visitors.
Stewardship really for the lake. I mean, again, as you mentioned before, really the lake is the focal point and why people want to come here. If that lake looks different or is a different experience to swim and recreate in, what does the industry look like if it's a changed lake?
Absolutely.
It could. We're very, very fortunate. And I know there's folks that come from, there's a lot of beautiful lakes in New York and all around the Northeast and the country, and they'll come in and everyone generally has the same expression when they see it is like, oh my gosh, this is, we do our water clarity readings. People can't believe we're getting 8 to 10 meters or wherever it may be. So when you guys are doing your mixers, you mentioned your mixers earlier. Is that open to the general public? You guys generally, or is it monthly that you do them? I mean, it seems like, you guys have them all the time, but you're bringing in folks to, it is a mixer, it's part social, but education is, of course, a huge component in that, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we open mixers up to anyone, any business or
Yeah.
any stakeholder in the area who might be interested in checking out the chamber and what the chamber has to offer. As well as one thing that I just love about our chamber and you really get to experience is I think when you come to Lake George, whether you're a visitor, a business owner, or resident, you cannot the authenticity is palpable.
Yeah.
And you get that through our chamber events as well.
Yeah.
Is we have so many people that might drive up from Albany. We are a regional chamber, so we have several members that are from Albany, Schenectady, southern, Saratoga area.
Yeah.
And they'll come up to our chamber, mixers and programs, and they're like, wow, this is so authentic. And I just feel so comfortable here. And I think that we emulate that just naturally and organically. And I think you get that experience just coming to this area. It's just a whole vibe that we have.
Genuine, and I think for a lot of folks, nostalgic. Lake George is like that old school playground of people, all centered around this beautiful lake. But I think there is certainly a sense of nostalgia and like getting back to nature kind of, or like having this respect for nature that a lot of people growing up, we played in the woods and in the creeks, and things have obviously changed. I'm curious what future generations that, had so much technology, but technology is really what helps with spreading the word for all of these wonderful places that you can visit, go, all the experiences that you can have. So it's an interesting thought to look forward to. Now, we're just coming off of our summer season, of course. I guess technically that would end Labor Day. We're a couple weeks past that. What was your experience? What did you think the energy of the village was this summer?
Yeah, so I look at this summer kind of as two different seasons.
Okay.
So there was May and June.
Yeah, and we talk about it, but
Yes.
it's kind of a joke, and like for our educators, it's a joke because I force them outside every day teaching, but it was unbelievable. I mean, for every one sunny day we had like 9 rainy days. It was...
Yes.
And typically that would be the start of the busy season, but I think it was a little slow, from my perspective, a little slow. I'd love to hear yours.
Absolutely. So there was something like, I can't remember what the number was, but 30-something weekends, Saturdays and Sundays of precipitation. So we would have beautiful Thursdays, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday was coming. And then in terms of tourism, it's like literally a dark cloud of, oh no, like we have more precipitation coming, more rain, more snow, whatever that may be. So May and June was rough. It was a tough one. We are definitely an area where people come to experience the outdoors.
Right.
We are impacted by weather. However, July and August, it rebounded. I think that there was some big pivoting too with Warren County Tourism, with the chamber. We did a ton of pushes for last minute lodging and trying to prepare, really trying to push that July and August, as well as a lot of local business owners. So people got together and said, what are we going to do here? How are we going to rebound? And it did. The streets were packed. There were people everywhere. And so, from a standpoint of tourism, we did super well. It was a strong season. So we just have to keep moving forward and keep focusing on the shoulder seasons and still creating that year-round experience that we know we have here.
Right. It seemed a little slower. I know I had heard some businesses, commenting on that as well, but I think because basically the population was beaten by rain for 30-something weeks. So I think so many things were weather dependent, of everyone being like, I'm not going to spend the money until I know it's not going to start pouring Saturday, Sunday, whatnot. But that's coming off of, I'm assuming, a pretty great winter season, because for the first time in 3 years, the lake froze thick for at least, it was about a month that it had frozen, which we have not had. So
yes, we had snow and ice.
Snow and ice, yeah.
Which is both things that we need. So I know, experientially, even in my own family, we're skiing every weekend.
Yeah.
When you're trying to get up to Gore Mountain, there's cars going down the mountain, like like you remember. There were snowmobilers everywhere.
Yeah.
The Winter Carnival finally had, things out on the lake. They got to
Right.
experience, people were out on the ice. So that's really huge for our areas, having the snow and the ice.
Right.
And that's super important, ice fishing. There's a lot of tourism that's around those outdoor experiences. So thank God that we had that this year.
Yeah. And visitor, but also local. The ice fishermen, my guess would be tend to be more of our local folks that are going out as opposed to visitors. Certainly they would. I know Fish 307 is always like their busy season is year round, but like they get a huge bump if there's actually ice out there on the lake. And again, coming off of a few years where we didn't have it. So Winter Carnival, of course, will be coming up this year. Hopefully the lake freezes. If it doesn't freeze though, it is still, is it in the park?
Oh, it's all over.
Yeah.
So it's all over the area. I know that, Jessica Dara has done literally a yeoman's job just finding other activities as well as the board, that it's a whole group of volunteers that has been keeping that going for so many years.
Right.
Nancy
I didn't realize it was
Nichols
all
is on there. Yes, it's all volunteer driven and led.
Oh my gosh.
So I know anything from sandcastles to beach volleyball,
Right.
things over at Battlefield Park. They sort of spread them out and just make that experience happen no matter what.
Yeah. In the Battlefield Park, they always do the reenactment one. That's got to be coming up here soon.
Yes, it is.
It's usually like early, late fall, somewhere in there. I don't know. I know I've gone down there before and I've been in like a winter coat or a t-shirt. So that really could be.
Yes, you're catching me, but I think it's either this weekend or next.
It could be any part of fall in upstate New York, really. And you could even start in the morning in one jacket and end in a literal t-shirt. So.
Yes, that's
kind of where we're at right now.
Year. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What's your favorite season?
It has transitioned.
Okay.
I think I was always a fall girl.
Okay.
Because, again, it's like the sweater weather, the t-shirts, the hiking. I'm leaning now into winter.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The skiing and especially raising a family here and being able to just get out there and on a good powder day, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Rochester, which is very, very flat.
Yeah.
So I'm getting to experience the mountains in the winter in a whole new, from a whole new lens.
Yeah.
So that's becoming my favorite season.
I'm not the biggest winter person because I just don't like to be cold. I feel like I'm always cold. But I will say last year I said to myself, I'm going to make a concerted effort, like get outside and do some ice skating, whatnot. And it was a great winter season. I lean more towards summer, but from July to September felt like 4 hours. 4th of July to the end of the season was a blink. And that's how it always happens because we're running like crazy. I know you guys are too. It's like you're almost mad dash to get to the finish line, but there is no actual finish line because you just are constantly spiraling, rolling along.
Yeah, and it's really hard to say. It's kind of like which children are your favorite, which season is your favorite. Each one is so special in this area.
Right.
Being out on the lake on a boat in the summer and, the spring hikes with the flowers blooming. I mean, there really is no season here that isn't just completely inspiring and beautiful.
Right.
So it's hard to pick, honestly.
Right. So, I mean, you guys, you're so widespread within the community. I assume calls that you're getting are, is someone calling on the phone and saying, what can I do in Lake George today? Like, what is that like? And how many of those do you get a day?
You would be absolutely shocked.
Yeah.
If I told you the phone, the number, the magnitude, and the questions. And I can't, so Gina Mincer, our executive director, I have to give her a shout out because we have a rule where it cannot ring more than 3 times without someone picking up the phone.
Okay.
So we could be in the middle of a really important staff meeting, and the minute we hear that third ring, somebody just runs as fast as they can to the phone, because it's amazing how many people still need that touch point.
Right.
Phone calls can be anywhere from what time are the fireworks tonight? Is
Right.
that being canceled? What's the weather? To I'm coming here in 3 days and I need a full itinerary of where to stay, what to do. I'm coming with my family. We're here for 4 nights. And we do all the things, trip planning, itineraries. We know answers to things that you just couldn't even imagine. And that's where it's so important within our chamber. We're always sharing that information. So the minute we're like, okay, fireworks are canceled, fireworks are canceled, fireworks are canceled, and we just pass that around and then we share it on social.
Right.
So it's just this constant buzz of information. In the winter, it's always, what is the thickness of the ice?
Yes, we were just talking about that the other day. Yes.
Yeah.
There's really no ultimate source for that answer. So,
Yes. In the fall, it's, what is the peak foliage? What day is best for me to come for the peak foliage? Well, last time I checked, I'm not really predictive of the exact date. So, it's anywhere. Each season really brings its whole new set of questions.
Yeah.
So we're just always, there's never a day that you don't get a question that you're like, I really need to find that answer. And I don't know. We have to figure that out. So that's what keeps us so informed and really organically connected to residents and the businesses.
Right, because you're really learning something new every day about the area. You guys are truly experts of Lake George and the wider spread area. I'm sure if someone calls and says, I want hiking trails, whatnot, certainly there's options here. But you can there's a wide array of places outside of Lake George Village that you could also send folks to, and I know you guys do. So
that's like one of the big trends that we've noticed this past year. And obviously this just comes with some of financial unpredictable times.
Yeah.
Some people are financially strapped. We can't deny that. That is an undeniable thing happening.
Absolutely.
So one thing that we're noticing is that the free events around the area are so important. So we're driving people to movie night in Glens Falls, to the food trucks in Horicon, to the live music that's all around the region. We, out in Stony Creek, up in Hague, North Creek. So we have to shout that all out because there are so many things beyond the big citywide events, just the free ongoing community-wide events that are constantly taking place. So we luckily get to, say, hey, if you want to do a little trip, Warrensburg has an Apple Fest going on, or have you been up to Thurman for the Maple Tour, for the Maple Fest or the Maple Tours? So we're always driving people, regionally around the area to experience, because those little pockets of those Adirondack towns and villages are really what keeps people coming back as well. So you have your experience in the village, you ride the steamboat, you go to the Great Escape, you get to do all those authentic experiences. But then it's sort of like, well, what else can we do?
Right.
Well, did you know that, there's some amazing trails? There's a folk school in Lake Luzerne. Or did you know that you can, go shopping even down at the outlets or go to the t-shirt factory in Glens Falls? So we're always driving people to just small drivable distances and small towns that are around the area, as well as a city. Glens Falls is a thriving, growing city.
Very much
restaurants,
so.
Shopping. It's a very active community with events. So there's just so much to do beyond just the village.
Well, and I mean, we have our beautiful Lake George natural resource, but we are surrounded by beautiful natural resources in mountains, lakes, creeks, rivers. It's all around us. So if people feel that they've, gotten enough of their Lake George experience, there's a lot of other places. You mentioned Lake Luzerne, and it's quite Lake Luzerne sees a huge boom in the summertime as well. That's where I live. And they have, among the municipality, made a concerted effort over the last few years. And I think it's the same. A lot of these free events are being run by either small nonprofits, local municipalities, or organizations, chamber, that are trying to really make experiences accessible to people who maybe don't want to spend, $150, $200 on a 2-hour, whatever it might be. It is financially hard times right now for a lot of folks, or just people trying to be conservative with how they're spending. So I think for the Village this summer, it did seem slow some days. It's not necessarily that people weren't here, but I think they were definitely being driven more towards these free or lower cost experiences, as opposed to something that maybe was going to, a family 4 or 5 can
Yeah,
add up
well, and
quite
sometimes,
quickly.
they'll say, okay, we need to do these one or two things
Right.
that we know we want to come here for,
Right.
that we know we want to experience. And then what else can we do?
Right.
I also noticed that boat rentals in marinas some marinas have come to us and say, oh my gosh, we might buy more boats. Like
Wow.
we have heard so many stories of marinas coming to us and saying the rental business is insane this year.
Right.
And I think it's because families they want to be out on the water.
Yeah.
They want to be outdoors. They really want to get those authentic experiences. So, that's where it's all so connected.
Yeah.
The visitor, the protection of the lake, the stewardship of everybody really
Right.
trying to keep that balance.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's just such a huge asset that not only the lake, but also, again, all the trails, all the rivers, the tubing. You must see some
Yeah.
huge tubing groups that come by too in Lake
Oh my gosh.
Luzerne.
And those trips go right by my house. It was like a full influx every day, like 4 or 5 times a day, which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
It's great. And something like that is, a semi-sustainable, you're putting tubes in the river and letting people float down. It's
Exactly.
yeah. But you meant, getting people on the water. It is a different experience to walk around Lake George than
Yes.
being on the lake, on the water, and getting to experience it. We, of course, get to with some of our programs and whatnot, and we're always trying to get on the lake as much as humanly possible.
And I can't tell you how many people call and they're like, where can I eat
Yes.
outside? I want to see the lake. Where can I stay where
Yes.
I'm on the lake? Where can I get beach access? So that's just never going to stop.
Right. I mean, we had cleanup day on Sunday this past weekend, and as we're setting up, people are coming up and going, where can I get breakfast on the lake? There are resources for this, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys are, the number one. If there is one thing you would want people, someone's coming to Lake George and they call you guys and they say, what's the one thing that I should do, take away? Like, what direction would you point them in?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I know.
A really tough one. I wasn't prepared
Because it's probably
for this.
pretty specific as far, I'm sure you'd probably ask a few more questions, but is there any one thing that you say you have to do that?
I mean, I think that it's sort of like a classic, and it sounds, I know that everyone talks about this, but I think a boat ride,
Yeah.
a cruise, whether it be Lake George waterfront or the steamboats, there's just nothing like it.
Yeah.
Getting out there and being on the lake. I think I really always encourage people to get out there and to do it, whether it be a young couple, a group of bachelorettes coming into town, a family.
Right.
There's not a single visitor that doesn't enjoy being out on the lake on a boat.
Right.
That's just a classic.
Even on rainy days, can attest.
It never lets you down.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So that's usually the direction that I go is, have you been on a tour? Have you done the steamboat? And it's affordable. There's anything from like dinner cruises to happy hour cruises to now they're doing Swifty cruises. So I think that, that's something that you can't really get anywhere else.
Right. Even the beach. I mean, $1 Million Dog Beach, all down through there, you are looking at the most stunning view
Yes.
possible. Tongue Mountain up in the distance, Bolton. You really don't get that in
No, that South
any other
Basin,
places. Yeah.
that South Basin is so, it's so special.
Yeah.
And, even with my own family, every Sunday we still walk the same loop. We walk right along that boardwalk.
Yeah.
So if you can't afford to get on a boat, walk the boardwalk.
Right.
Walk along that southern end.
Or Westbrook.
Yeah.
The Westbrook ponds are really beautiful too, and almost tucked. I mean, they're right there in downtown, but it's kind of tucked away, and you get this really unique little experience in there.
Yeah, it's a huge sense of relief.
Yeah.
It's a huge, I can feel when I come down that hill and you see that beautiful shot, it's like it never doesn't strike you.
Right. Right. What's your favorite part of the lake?
So I'm a Bolton girl.
Okay.
Because my parents live up there.
Okay.
So really getting out on the lake, starting in Bolton. I love the South Beach area. So Rogers, the locals call it North Beach or South Beach.
Right.
So I love going to the beach there. And then obviously if you can get on a boat and you can go out to the islands, there's nothing like it.
Yeah. I'm partial
special.
to Bolton up as well. But we did cleanup day at Rogers Park and, having to do drop-offs, whatnot. The beach at Rogers has been packed for the last 2 weeks. And I think it's a lot of folks who maybe don't go out and enjoy it as much in the summertime because it tends to be quite packed.
Yep.
So it's like the locals are back. They're taking over. They're sitting on the beach every day. And the weather has been perfect. I mean, it's been like 75 and sunny or 80 and sunny the last 2 weeks. So really optimal time. Summer's not technically over yet.
No, we still are swimming.
We're still
swimming.
Ooh,
People are still jumping in.
Summer.
Not for long.
No, it's gonna dip here really, really quickly, but yeah. We'll get there. Is there anything you guys are especially looking forward to coming up? I'm sure, at least I know for us, I'm at the end of 2025, already planning for 2026. I assume you guys are as well. Is there anything in 2026 that you are really looking forward to?
I think that for 2026, it's really a year of growth and resiliency. That has sort of been the focus for our chamber. We are really working hard with Warren County Tourism, with other businesses to stay aligned and really focus on that mission and that vision of what we want for 2026.
Yeah.
I think another really big part is just finding new programs and ways that we can organically keep our members connected and engaged.
Right.
So actually next month in October, we have an economic outlook breakfast where we're bringing panelists in and members are being surveyed to ask questions to discuss what was the summer like for you?
Right.
What are you looking at for 2026? What is the data showing across all sectors?
Right.
So I think that for us, we keep hearing things and now we're going, okay, we should create a program for that, or we should create an event for that to keep those people connected. I know with Warren County Tourism, they have several seminars coming up. So we're just continuing to elevate the voices of our stakeholders. As a chamber, that's sort of our job is the advocacy element of it as well. So just continuing to listen and try to keep everybody engaged. That's what I'm looking forward to more than any specific thing.
Right.
It's just a continuation of growing those voices.
Well, and you always have to evolve. At some point, people will have done, a lot of the visitors that come to Lake George are frequent flyers. Like they come back year after year. And at some point, maybe they've done that. They don't want to do it again. So you have to always be playing into that. A lot of what you guys do, I'm sure, is, of course, data driven.
Yeah.
And what people are looking forward to, whether it might not be an event or whatnot, but some type of new experience here, there, everywhere.
Yes.
So,
and that's never ending, the creative ideas of what events, what attractions, what can we bring to the area to keep people coming. But one thing that I've always realized is the cornerstone of this region is that we really are built on stories, generations, and seasons. All of those three things are so important to the area. People come to this area maybe to visit for a weekend, and they connect to the lake and they connect to this area for life.
Yeah.
And you will see that. You will see strollers, families, grandchildren, grandparents, multi-generations that are coming in. So we can't lose sight of that.
Yeah.
We are that happy place. We are still that connection for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's instilling and keeping that, which we know is kind of like the grounding of our message.
Right.
And then, hey, let's throw in some new fun, adventurous things that we can excite people with and keep people coming back.
Yeah, or a new restaurant, new something.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So you mentioned this the event in October that will have panelists. Is that open to the general public? What day is that?
Yeah, so it is open to stakeholders. It's really so that is October 16th. It's Thursday, October 16th. It starts at 8 a.m.
Okay.
It's at the Holiday Inn Resort in Lake George. It's called an industry conversation.
Okay.
Because that's what it's meant to be.
Right.
Is just a conversation with people who are in it, on the grounds, doing the things that they do every day. That we have panelists from Stewart's. We have John Carr from the Adirondack Pub and Brewery. We have Christine Powers from RevRail up in Lake George.
Oh, nice.
We have, Tyler Herrick from down in Glens Falls. So we have several... Gary Thornquist from Lake George RV Park. So it's camping, it's lodging, it's dining, attractions, all of those things, retail, all of those things really make up this area and keep it thriving. So it's meant to be a conversation. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do, is just bring people back to the table to talk about what things are going on and what they want for the future.
And people can sign up for that event at your website?
Yep, lakegeorgechamber.com. Okay. So you can go there. There's so many pages that I'm just trying to, we're working on a website refresh, and it's like every page I open, I'm like, well, that's still important because we have visitors that are visiting that page. We have members that are visiting that page. We have locals and residents that are visiting that page. So you can find it on our Chamber and CVB events page versus our full calendar of events, which is just the /events.
Okay. And do you guys have a newsletter? Like people can go on the website, sign up, and get the lowdown on basically all the goings on.
Yep. So we have a member newsletter, which is sort of a members only, but then we also have, if you go right on our footer, you can sign up for our newsletter that is more leisure and tourism based. So as the marketer, I get to send out all the newsletters that are really connecting with all of the audiences that I was talking about. Okay. So we got a lot going on.
Well, any final thoughts? Any last pitches, whatnot?
No, I think that, just thank you for offering this opportunity. I think that the one thing is just a huge thank you to the LGA.
Oh, yeah.
I think when you come here, it's undeniable to see the beauty and the cleanliness and just the amount of care that is taking place on Lake George and in Lake George. And, it's a huge testament to organizations like you who are really doing a lot to protect the lake and to take care of it. And that is a reciprocal relationship with all of the visitors that come in. So thank you for all that you do.
Well, that's very sweet. Thank you. Megan, thank you so much for coming on. It goes hand in hand. Like we said before, without the lake being as beautiful, we work so hard to help. There's a lot of other organizations that do to keep our lake clean, but it really is about education, bringing folks in. Without our clean lake, there's really nothing that people would probably want
not
see,
so much.
Or maybe not nothing, but certainly not, it would not be that nostalgic, genuine, authentic feeling. I don't think that's what people come here for. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will link the Chamber website, everything in our show notes so people can reach out to you. And thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll be back soon with another episode. The Lake Protectors podcast is a production of the Lake George Association. To check out the work that the LGA is doing, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Lake George Association. You can also visit our website at lakegeorgeassociation.org. This episode was produced by Jacqueline Mignot. If you'd like to hear more, follow us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.